Hello everybody, you all have spoken. We are going to play Baldur's Gate 3 on the channel. I put up a poll earlier this week and it was over 90% of people voted yes. And then there was a lot of people in the comments coming out and just saying, yeah, I would love to see a series of that, which is great because this is a game that honestly, I've really wanted to do a playthrough of. So we're going to. Now, we're also going to vote for which class that I want to play. I've narrowed it down to 5, and there will be a poll on the community page, which there'll be a link to in the description and in the comments if you want to head over there and vote. But I'm going to break down the reasons I've chosen these 5 particular classes to vote from. And also, as a caveat, I hold veto privileges for being like, no, I have come up with a really good idea. I'm going to play this class now. So let me give you some backstory as to why I've chosen these classes. So the primary reason is that we are going to play the Dark Urge backstory. Now they have a set of characters that do have like a what they call like an origin story, like Astarion and Shadowheart and all that. We're not going to play one of those characters. Those do have a bespoke backstory, and I actually do recommend playing one of those if you really just don't want to think about the story. You just kind of want something made up for you, and then you can kind of play in a linear experience. Definitely do that. But we're going to play the Dark Urge, which technically is one of those, but it is far more customizable, and you can do it with any character that you want. It's got this mechanic that makes it so your character has these dark urges, and there's even a new character that is like almost like a monkey on your shoulder getting you to do that kind of stuff. And I think these classes that I've chosen work really well for this potential backstory of how we can make it our own story as we go. So first we've got the Paladin. I think that the Paladin is like the perfect match with this because you could do at launch, they don't have it currently in the early access, but at launch you could do like a Vengeance Paladin and be able to put that in there, or an Oathbreaker Paladin, where you're kind of having to be like this goody two shoes character, but at the same time you have these dark urges and you gotta, there's inner conflict there, right? That's easy storytelling. It's like the easiest storytelling in all of storytelling. So Paladin is a good choice. Then I also put Druid on there because I think Druid would be really cool. Rogue is just fun. I like playing rogues, so I put that in there. Then we have Monk. Monk hasn't been in the game yet, but it is coming at launch. And Monk is a really cool D&D class that I've always wanted to get into playing and just have never really had the opportunity, so I threw that in there. And then finally, Bard, because Bard is fun. And you know what? I think a lot of people will end up playing Bard on their own. So the reason why I put this poll up is to kind of gauge your interest in what you think would be a fun class to see. I'm going to choose my own race. There'll be a couple more races added at launch, the Dragonborn and the Half-Orc. So those are also options for races for whatever I end up picking. The race is going to change depending on the class for sure. I'm not necessarily going to min-max here, but just kind of make a fun choice and then adjust from there. So yeah, the class thing, I really want to gauge what comes out on top as like, this will be the most fun thing or most interesting thing for you guys to watch. And you may even vote just because you're going to play a different class, which actually tells me a lot. Like, I'm sure Bard is going to be really popular, and I'm pretty sure Ranger is going to be very popular for people. So I didn't put the Ranger on there, but I put the Bard because Bard can be quite funny. But again, I think Ranger is going to be a very popular choice amongst people, so they may not even want to see that. That's why it's not even on the list. Let me know in the comments, too, what class you plan on playing. I know a couple of people spoke up and said they want to play Paladin, or they wanted to do Barbarian and stuff like that. I think Barbarian also would be a lot of fun, but they're adding a new Barbarian character for your party. And I want to recruit her and use her. So that's why I don't have Barbarian on there, right? There's like a bunch of reasons why I've chosen these 5 classes. And out of these 5, I'm really curious to see what comes out on top. But you guys will know which class I pick when episode 1 goes up. It will go up on launch day, probably later that evening, because it's going to be a long video. I'm looking at, for the first episode, doing about 2 hours, a 2-hour video. The reason why is because most people who have been paying attention to Baldur's Gate 3 have seen the intro experience like a dozen times. So we're just going to pack as much of that into one episode as we can, just to get that out of the way and then start exploring the world as our new character and kind of figuring out who our character is. But thank you guys for voting in the previous poll. Thank you for jumping in and voting on this one. And thank you for letting me know in the comments on this video what you guys think of, what class that you're going to be playing. If you're not subscribed, you better be, so that way you know when that first video goes up. But with all that being said, thank you guys for watching, and we shall see you all next time.